Currently over 2.7 trillion naira gas to power debt offset plan. NLC dissolves Edo Council amid power struggle. NSIB launches investigation into Abuja Kaduna train derailment. Nigerian striker Akor Adams faces absence from Sevilla ahead of AFCON. Hello and welcome to a live news coming to you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Blessing Ogwo. Now the news in detail. The federal government has unveiled a plan to settle a staggering 2.7 trillion naira debt owed to gas suppliers aimed at stabilizing the electricity sector, while potentially offering much-needed short-term respite. Analysts are cautious, warning that the initiative might only mask deeper structural dysfunctions in Nigeria's electricity industry. Since the sector's partial privatization in 2013, persistent cost recovery failures have left tariff levels consistently below the true supply cost, raising doubts about the sustainability of such debt-clearing measures. However, critics argue that unless comprehensive reforms follow, targeting inefficient pricing models, infrastructure decay, and systematic governance gaps, this colossal payout may amount to little more than temporary relief. Without substantive transformation, the sector risks reverting to its entrenched challenges, undermines investor confidence, and leaving long-term energy security aspirations unfulfilled. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has taken the rare and drastic step of dissolving its Edo State Council, citing unresolved leadership conflicts as the trigger. Tensions escalated when the Edo State government reportedly seized the secretariat's keys ahead of a caretaker committee scheduled inauguration on August 28, 2025. This unprecedented move has thrust both the police and the State Security Service (SSS) into the fray to ensure the safety of the NLC officials involved. The conflict, however, shows broader contours of government-labor relations at the state level and raises questions about the evolving boundaries between political authority and union autonomy. Observers are closely watching how state security forces will engage moving forward and whether dialogue could be restored to defuse this crisis before it escalates further. A devastating ocean surge swept through Apakin, one of Lagos' last indigenous coastal villages, displacing residents, destroying homes, graves, and even ancestral structures such as Chief Abimbola Iyowun's former palace. The incursion obliterated critical means of livelihood, including fishing boats and nets, and erased nearly all physical traces of the village's heritage. Residents now face the unthinkable, the complete loss of their ancestral land. Environmental experts warn that this dilemma situation tied to unchecked coastal infrastructure development, including deep-sea ports and the Dangote refineries, associated dredging operations, factors that exacerbate erosion and tidal surges. Despite pledges made under the 2022 Commonwealth Living Lands Charter, communities like Apakin still await enforceable and effective climate action. Local leaders, however, and environmentalists are calling for immediate protective measures, but they warn such interventions must be rooted in science and enforceable regulations, not empty promises. Speaking from Brazil during a bilateral summit in Brasilia, President Bola Tinubu invited Brazilian state oil giant Petrobras to swiftly resume operations in Nigeria, nearly 5 years after its exit. Tinubu cited Nigeria's abundant gas reserves and ongoing reforms in the oil sector as compelling reasons for the company's return. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva pledged support for this initiative. In parallel, the two nations signed a suite of agreements spanning trade, aviation, energy, finance, and science, including the launch of a direct Lagos-São Paulo flight and establishment of an Embraer service center in Nigeria. While Petrobras' re-entry remains speculative, its significance could be profound, potentially reinvigorating investment and expertise in deep-water exploration. Discussions are also reportedly ongoing with other major energy players like ExxonMobil, Shell, and Total Energies, who may welcome partnerships or assets sharing deals. This move reflects Nigeria's intensified efforts to rebuild its energy, diplomacy, and attract strategic partners amid a global energy transition. Nigeria's state oil company NNPCL Limited announced that pipeline theft, once a crippling drain on revenue, has been nearly eliminated. Just 3 years ago, only about 30% of oil produced made it to export terminals due to rampant siphoning. Now, almost 100% of oil reaches its intended destinations, thanks to coordinated efforts by the military, intelligence agencies, and private security contractors, particularly in the volatile Niger Delta region. This turnaround marks a critical achievement for the nation's oil security. The dramatic reduction in theft has ignited optimism among investors and policy makers. NNPC projects that Nigeria's daily oil output could exceed 2.5 million barrels next year, with outflow secured and infrastructure protected. The nation is better positioned to exploit its hydrocarbon reserves and fund broader economic development. From the investigation into Abuja-Kaduna train derailment, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB) is aware of the derailment involving a Kaduna-bound train service which occurred at approximately 11:09 a.m. today at KM 49 between Kubwa Station and Asham Station. Current information available indicates that 6 persons sustained injuries and no recorded fatalities. A GO team has been deployed to the site to gather evidence, engage relevant stakeholders, and commence investigation into the circumstances surrounding the accident. Commenting on the incident, the Director General of NSIB, Captain Alex Bade Jr., sympathized with them and said, "The Bureau has deployed investigators to the site to ensure the root cause of the derailment is uncovered." The unwavering and consistent commitment of Plateau State Police Command personnel has successfully curtailed activities of some criminal-minded individuals who has been causing chaos and depriving innocent citizens of their means of livelihood across the state. Reeling out the operational success of the command, Commissioner of Police, Plateau State Command Emmanuel Adeshina, commended the personnel, other security agencies, and citizens for their accomplishment in tackling crimes in the state. And in his words, it is worthy of note that these operational successes are not only a testament of the diligence and commitment of our officers, but also the collaborative spirit of Plateau citizens and synergetic support from members of other security agencies. For this, he commended them all, the police commissioner stressed. And from the entertainment news, fast-rising Nigerian singer and songwriter Folarin Odunlami, known for his breakout EP, What's a Feeling 2024, sent waves of excitement through fans when he announced his upcoming debut album titled Catharsis. Very set to drop on 5th September 2025 since his rapid ascent highlighted by notable collaborations like Zlatan's Get Better and DJ Tunes' One Condition featuring Wizkid. Fola has built strong momentum across Afrobeats and Afropop scenes. As anticipation builds, fans and industry watchers are watching to see if the album will deliver the heartfelt lyrics, rich melodies, and authentic sound that has become Fola's signature. Two significant films, Osamide and Make Mation, remains influential in Nigeria's cinematic landscape. Osamide, a historical movie directed by James Omokwe and producer Lillian Olubi, portrays the story of a young Benin girl who shows supernatural powers to protect her people during the 1897 British invasion. The film made its premiere at the 2025 Cannes Film Market on 17 May, standing out for its visually compelling retelling of colonial era strife through an empowered African heroine. Meanwhile, Make Mation, directed by Michael Akin-Rogunde and heralded as Africa's first feature film focus on artificial intelligence, was showcasingly released on 18 April 2025. Centered on a star young girl from rural Lagos using her tech prowess to uplift her community, the film explores themes of STEM inclusion, youth empowerment, and digital innovation at a time when Nigeria's tech ecosystem is rapidly evolving. Its amazing box office turnout and critical praise underscores the growing appetite for bold, socially conscious narratives in Nollywood. And on sports, former world champion Amir Khan has announced his ambition to bring heavyweight icon Anthony Joshua back to his roots by staging a blockbuster boxing event in Lagos, Nigeria. Khan is promoting a card scheduled for Oktoberfest, headlined by Rocky Fielding returns from retirement against US fighter Brandon Glanton in a cruiserweight alongside British light heavyweight Dan Aziz, who carries Nigerian heritage. With Joshua's Nigerian lineage and his ongoing recovery from elbow surgery, Khan believes Nigeria presents a natural and symbolic revenue for the boxer's return to the ring. As the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations edges closer, Akor Adams, striker for Spanish outfit Sevilla, has been called up by the Nigerian national team for qualifiers against Rwanda and South Africa. His inclusion, along with other national team regulars like Ejuke and Iheanacho, threatens to weaken Sevilla's attacking options. The club, already grappling with underwhelming offensive output last season, now faces a pressing need to beef up its front line before the transfer window closes. The timing is particularly awkward for Sevilla, which must navigate this temporary void while maintaining form in domestic and European competitions and with multiple Nigerian internationals set to be absent during the AFCON period. The club may seek swift reinforcements to sustain its offensive potency through this challenging phase. And on the foreign scene, the United States government under President Donald Trump enacted a dramatic doubling of tariffs on certain Indian imports, raising duties to a staggering 50%. This move represents a significant escalation in trade tensions between the two countries, and it's part of a broader strategy by Washington aimed at curbing India's economic ties with Russia, especially in the energy sector. The Indian government swiftly voiced strong opposition to the measure, with New Delhi emphasizing its reliance on Russian oil as a strategic decision amid global uncertainties. Policymakers in India has also underscored ongoing efforts to diversify diplomatic and trade relationships, likely as a buffer against economic shocks induced by these tariffs. And in the United Kingdom, the Union Jack and the St. George's Cross has proliferated across cities and towns, sparking a national debate on patriotism and xenophobia. While many citizens display the flags of pride, The rise coincides with a resurgence in anti-immigration protests across the country, prompting concern among observers about the normalization of politically charged nationalism. Authorities and civil society groups warn that the flag displays, when aligned with growing anti-immigration sentiment, may embolden extremist or far-right factions. Meanwhile, some political figures has praised the national symbols, framing them as expressions of cultural identity. A dynamic that has intensified discussions on what it means to be British in today's polarized climate. We've come to the end of the news. For more news, follow us on all social media platforms, Alive Television. This is Alive News. Thank you for listening. My name is Blessing Ogwo.